There are lots of depictions of disability as a bodily lack or dysfunction, or that disabled people are to be pitied. But this is exactly the kind of narrative that Jason Wilsher-Mills wants to disrupt. Jason Wilsher-Mills subscribes to the social model of disability. That is, the idea that society is disabling by not accommodating for people's needs. His larger-than-life installations look at his disability as a source of pride, exploring his experience of becoming disabled and how that made him the artist he is today. When Jason contracted chickenpox at the age of 11, it triggered an autoimmune condition which left him paralysed from the neck down for 5 years. During his time in hospital, he learned to paint using his mouth, which opened up a whole new world of possibilities. As he describes it, it was during my time in hospital that I found my true vocation as an artist. My imagination couldn't be contained, it was set free. Suddenly, all his energies went into creating new worlds. He could take what was in his imagination and put it on paper. In this diorama, Painting with My Mouth, Jason depicts himself as a Dalek from Doctor Who. This is partially because, well, he loved Doctor Who, but also to convey the different surgical collars, spinal braces, and series of straps in his wheelchair that kept him upright and allowed him to paint. Jason's paintbrush and pencil were then attached to a device which looked like a surgical tooth brace.
It was such a huge, momentous thing, as I now wasn't limited to just living in my head. I could externalise my imagination in a very real way.
In addition to Doctor Who, Jason Wilsher-Mills gets his artistic inspiration from a lot of different places. Combine this with Jason's personal experiences, and you get this: Jason and the Adventure of 254. One figure whose influence runs through all his work is his mum.
From the ages 11 to 16, I was paralysed from the neck down due to my autoimmune condition. And so, while I was in hospital, she would paint and decorate my face, as it was the only part of my body I could feel. I see this as a total act of love and portray this in all my work.
In this diorama, Mum the Mermaid, Jason pays tribute to his mother's love of nighttime swimming. As a child, Jason would go on family holidays to Withensea, a small seaside town on the east coast of Yorkshire, and during their nocturnal visits to the beach, they would be rewarded by the sight of hundreds of jellyfish glowing in the dark. The North Sea cod is depicted as being disabled, a portent of what's to come. He has a crutch wedged under his fin, and a tracheostomy tube sticking out from the front of his chest, and a scar near his tail, sewn up with bright red stitches. Even the psychedelic jellyfish represent the virus which would ultimately lead to Jason's disability. His mum, meanwhile, is a beautiful mermaid with a shimmering green and red fish's tail, her forefingers pointed like a disco queen.
For that one moment, we were part of the greatest celebration of this extraordinary working class woman who just happened to be my mum.